Welcome friends, welcome to my YouTube channel. Once again, another video. Again, this video is related to HVAC, the industry. Those who are not subscribed my channel, I request you to subscribe it and spread it among your friends. I start this video with these important lines. Performance always comes from passion and not from the pressure. Be passionate, love your job. If you have come to this industry or if you have selected this industry, give your 100%, start loving the job, and I think you will enjoy every bit of it. So follow your passion. In this video, as I said, we are going to talk about HVAC projects. What is the life cycle of HVAC projects is what we are going to see in this video. So what are the stages of HVAC projects? Stages starts with first the inquiry, the need from a customer that gets converted in order to a particular HVAC installer or what we call as a contractor. The contractor, once he gets the order, does the design and planning, then he does the procurement, then he goes for installation, then the system gets commissioned. Because one important thing which we need to listen is that we sell the system, we sell the experience, and that's why whatever was the need we fulfill and demonstrate with the testing and commissioning. So this is a simple cycle. We'll go a little detail in the future slides. So let's look at the cycle here. And the cycle is like this. We get a customer needs, the contractor submits a bid or proposal, that gets converted into order. The planning is done. Based on that planning, the design work starts. Then it goes for procurement. Material gets delivered. We say or we set out a statement which is called method statement. This is how we will approach individual activities or work. Then we mobilize the people at site. Works get started. Works gets inspected. Whatever works gets done, that needs to be certified. Quantum of the works needs to be certified. Testing and commissioning, handing over, final settlement of the work done. Whatever the work is done, the reconciliation is done, the final settlement with the customer is done, and then the project is closed. So this is a long cycle which is known, but I thought we'll refresh it. And for the benefit of the people who want to come into the industry, I think this will be able to get a good understanding of the project stages. So let's start with first customer needs. In the current scenario, we get the customer needs. Either the customer calls up or sends an email with his needs to a contractor, or customer appoints a consultant. He works out his needs, make a tender, and the tender is then floated across so that many people come together and they participate in tendering system. So this is the general thing which happens. It could be a design build, it could be a BOQ based. Either the contractor is supposed to do the design, make a BOQ, and either he can submit a BOQ based proposal, or he can say that my work will be lump sum. So it is a design build and I give a lump sum value. Most of the time, the tenders are generally BOQ based. There are chances of also design build or lump sum contract there, but mostly I find the tenders are design based because customer gives to the consultant, he works out entire system, then he breaks down the BOQ which is required to complete that system, and that's how the BOQ based is done. One important thing in direct inquiry. Let us look at what are the elements which we need to look at. First is understanding the requirement, exact requirement. The contractor must know what is the application for which he is able to give the solution, right? He should not be knowing entire thing, but he should know what are the requirements from the HVAC side, what is the process, and then he can give a proper solution. Generally, there is a gap, and then the problem starts. The draft design is then made, and it is verified for its sufficiency. Right BOQ, either as I said lump sum or BOQ based with a proper specification is made. Right understanding is very, very important, and in this case, scope matrix, because everything cannot be done by a HVAC contractor. Some things have to be done by the other contractor, some things have to be done by the owner or the customer. Needs to be understood, and that's why boundary limits very important. There should not be any gray areas. So the dispute should not, come later. That's the very, very important part. So once this is known, this boundary limit should be known properly. In such cases, when the customer directly approaches the contractor, the right solution from the contractor is very important, and that will help them to make the repeat business from the same customer. If there is a default there, you are lost. And that's the kind of perception customer will get. Let us look at one important fact here, which is the understanding of customer requirement. And this is a very, very important slide, which is from PM Bock, where I have taken a lot of learnings from. So let us look at how the customer explained his requirement and how the salesperson understood the requirement. Look at changes in the picture. That's very important. Please follow this very, very carefully. This is how the project was designed by a design team, and this is how a planning was done for this project. This is how the testing was done for the project. This is how actually consultant described the project. The project was documented in the air, in the clouds. The project was completed actually like this. However, customer was built for making a sort of bridge, right? And you can see the difference here. How the billing was supported without any documentation. How the marketing advertised the same project, something else. And what finally wanted customer for something different. So entire stages, everything has changed, and that's happened because of either we are not understanding the customer right, or we are not listening to the customer right. And the communication plays an important role here. Requirements through tenders. Generally, the contractors release only BOQ, and that is where they're more interested, and they miss the whole tender document, the reading of the whole tender document. Reading of the whole tender document with the specification, with the contracts, is very, very important. Noting down the points, making response very important. Wherever you have clarification, it has to be noted down, and the clarification must be sought, and the clarification has to come from the other side, and that will give a full clarity. The reading of specification approved make extremely important. Tender conditions, as I said, can have direct impact on costing. Insurance, facilities to be provided, electricity, water, BGs, these are all things which adds into the costing. It's not only material and labor. Checklist is very, very important good practice which can be used to tick whether we have taken care of all the points or not. That will give a clarity. Yes, all the points are taken care. A sample checklist can be made just to see and then evolve, because we all are learning and we can evolve from that so that we don't make any mistakes. Understanding of tender drawing, again important. Specification, BOQ, preparation of right queries. We go through those details, prepare right queries, because there will be some queries or there will be some difference of our understanding and customer understanding. RFI, request for information. If you don't have any answer with you, ask for it. That's very important for the queries. This is a very important process, RFI. All communications, all the addendums, because it is a process. It's not a tender submission. We submit the tenders and it gets closed. A lot of thing happens. A lot of addendum comes. A lot of discussion happens. A lot of changes are made. This needs to be incorporated. Scope clarity must be 100%. And when I mean of scope clarity, it is of the boundary lines. So this is where the crux stops. If we are very clear about these boundary lines, what you are going to do and what we are going to do, very, very important. Clarity is extremely important. Site visit, another important part is scope, because it plays very, very important role when you estimate a site. You get lot of details about local issues, the geographical conditions, the political issues, the accommodation, the travel arrangement. If you don't visit, you will not be able to come to know. Spending a good amount of time at site before bidding is extremely important. All these elements then play a critical role in terms of costing. You can also know what is the civil progress of the site, what are the plans, what are the methods used by the customer for constructions. You can get a lot of important notes about civil progress the MEP clearances, the importance is given to MEP systems. Any hindrance, you can always tell them in advance. You can also tie up with the civil contractor for a lot of other things because they are the first one to move there. They will know the entire site better than us. Get a lot of insights. Site management of customer. What is the interest of the customer in completion? That also plays an important role because in tender it might be said that the job has to be completed in 6 months, but when you go to the site, you will also get a clarity and you can estimate it properly. Site survey. What is security? Is there a licensing arrangement is required? All these things are very, very important things when it comes to the scope. Estimation is not only material and labor, as I said. Estimation plays an important role, and you can see the number of attributes or elements which leads into the estimation is very, very important. You can see from the labor, PMC, site expense, local issues, allowances, finance costs, insurance, softwares, time. Again, a fact because that's directly related to the cost of licensing, any special skill required for the job. What is my DLP? What is the BOCW issues, compliances, HSE, office overheads, contingency, and finally it's the profit. And that's very important to understand. And this is where the estimation is done. So when you know the customer need, you go to the site again, find out, be clear about the customer need, then you go into the estimation. And this is where our bids comes into picture. And then you get an order. You shake hands, you sign a contract, and then you move ahead. The contract is the document which is legal going forward. Then what to do is planning. Now planning is not only making bar charts. It is the answer which should be able to give what, how, and when. What you are going to do, how you are going to do, and when you are going to do. These three answers must come from the planning. That's very important. As I said, planning is not making only the bar charts. Planning will be able to give such outputs. What is the mobilization? What is the time of number of people required by when? Both in terms of your staff, both in terms of your labors. And this is very important. And you can get such kind of outputs, the number of labors and month, because you are not able to do everything on one day. It will be spanned out throughout the life cycle or throughout the completion, right, of the project. You need to work out what is the productivity. This is one example. You can see one example over here, ducting. What is the scheduled start date? What is the scheduled finish date? What is the total quantity, number of working days? What is the per day output? For that, how many manpower is required? And what is the productivity? This is very important, and this database needs to be there with you. Otherwise, you will go haywire in this calculation. This calculation is based on this sheet, and this is how this is derived at. This is the planning part. Again, in planning, you must also get to what is the critical path. You must be able to understand what is the critical path on the project, because critical path has zero float. If that gets delayed, the entire project gets delayed. So the understanding of it, the exact critical path, and your focus or importance to be given to that critical path is very, very important. Again, there is another concept of rolling wave planning. It's like this. When you go for swimming, and if you want to go from this place to this place over here, you will have to face or challenge multiple waves, right? But you can't think of these waves first. You have to think of these waves first, right? So you need to plan, execute, and monitor control. Then you have to be ready for the next wave and then next wave. But at your back of your mind, you know you have to go here. So you at the back of your mind, you will also know what is the wave. But first, you will execute this. Then you will execute this. So you have to be very focused about what is coming now and what is coming next, so that you are prepared. And this is what the terminology called rolling wave planning. Then the design aspect comes. In design aspects, the three important things is calculations like heat load calculation, ESP calculation, pump head calculation, CFD analysis, some of the aspects there. The shop drawings, again, the inputs have to come from the customer in terms of structural drawing, architectural drawing, the basic drawings, tender drawings. Based on the shop drawings are made. The shop drawings again are coordinated with other shop drawings like electrical, firefighting, plumbing, or other services, structural, and the approval is taken. Another important element of design is technical submittal. The inputs have to be taken from specs, the makes, The confirmation has to be obtained from the vendor. The vendor will give a lot of data to prepare a technical submittal or technical data sheet that gets submitted. There will be comments, incorporation of those comments, and finally we get technical submittal approved. So this is a design stage, right? So far we have seen the customer needs, right? Then we have seen the estimation part, then we have seen the planning part, and this is the design part. Procurement. Procurement can be divided into three major items: ancillary items and the labor. This is another important aspect. Then the delivery of material. Delivery of material can be done before it's delivered. The inspection can be done at the source. The proper dispatch clearance is given. Actual delivery happens. Delivery when it happens, the proper inspection has to be done. A proper MIR, the material inspection report, has to be made with respect to the approved TDS, and then it has to be documented and stored properly. That's very important. Then we get the method statement. How we are going to install, what are the tools which are required, how I'm going to approach for installation, how I'm going to have the hazard identification and risk analysis from the HSE point of view, how I'm going to do the testing. So this covers a method statement. This will give clarity to both sides, the customer side and to the contractor side, and even the subcontractors which are working under us. Site mobilization. Site mobilization, for that organization chart. Proper induction of the people at site. Mobilization of machineries at site, and then we are ready for starting installation. So this is another stage. Then we do the work. In major works are ducting, piping, insulation, electrical, and equipment. These are major works which we undertake. Some of the photographs. This is the plant room, cooling tower, pumps, ducting is what is being shown here. This is the plant room, piping, the quality part. We will get observations. There will be issues which are non-conformity, needs to be rectified. A corrective and preventive action has to be found out, and obviously once the work is done, the work inspection reports need to be closed out. That will be an important element for raising the bills against installation. Then comes the testing and commissioning. This as I said, demonstration of what was designed, what was the intent has to be demonstrated, right? And this is how the testing commissioning is done. Important aspect and important stage of our customer. Then we do a quantity surveying and billing and invoicing. So advance billing is done when the order is given, billing against delivery, billing against testing and commissioning, billing against completion certificate, billing against installation. These are the billings which are done. For that, quantification has to be done, and that's why the quantity surveying comes an important part. Then we come to handover. Now, what is the handover? Once you do a testing commissioning, you get those readings signed off, the performance signed off. Then there will be some snags which needs to be closed out. A proper as-built drawing needs to be made. Operation maintenance manual. The training to the people from the customer side or the people who are going to operate it, the system, we need to give the training, and finally a sign off. So this is another final settlement. Now, how this final settlement happens? We need to have a signing off of handover document, signing off on the final contract document, signing off on the no-due certificate from the vendors or the contractor. There has to be three-way reconciliation: material delivered versus billed, material delivered versus installed, material installed versus billed against installation. So these gaps can be removed, and you are very clear about the reconciliation. Demobilize all the resources and close the project with a DLP certificates to the customer, so that DLP is either taken care by you within your project team, or it can be done by somebody else, whatever may be the organization structure. This is how closing happens. The acceptance on the values, the reconciliation, demobilization, concluding the final cost, audit of everything, and finally we declare what is the financial. The financials are the turnover, contract value, the turnover, and the final GM, and from that we can get a net profit on the project. So this is the cycle, this is the stages of the project which I wanted to share with you. Hope you got value. The best way to predict future is to create it. We create a lot of legacies, we create a lot of systems which last for so many years, right? And I thought this is a very important thing for people who come in already or people who are new. to understand right from the initiation to closing what are the stages in the project. Thank you very much for your patient listening. You can go through my books, Person of Your Dream, which is available on Amazon on this link, as well as the next book, which is Focus is Money, Play 100%, again available on Amazon. You can follow me on YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, and ajazkazi.com.